Hello, hello. Welcome everybody to Crafty Chemist Designs. How is everybody doing today on this Sunday evening? I'm doing well. Got a lot of work done today. Got a lot of work done today. Oops, sorry for the feedback. If you hop on, say hello so I know that you're here. If you're watching the replay, say #replay. There we go. Shared it to the group. Sorry for the feedback. This seems to be at a weird angle. Is that better or is that worse? Oh. Yeah, okay, that's definitely worse. Well, hi Diana, how are you? Trying to get straightened out here. That's even worse, guys. I'll get it straight here in a second. Oh, that looks better. That looks better. So what's everybody up to? Today oh gosh, what did I do? I mowed the lawn. So that took a while this morning. And then I pulled weeds and trimmed the hedges, cleaned up my flower beds. That took almost all day until about 3 o'clock. And then I came in and I worked on the project that I'm going to do next week. I wanted to finish it and take some pictures. So that's what I did. What have you guys been doing? Hi, Mom, on Instagram. So today we are going to be making these fault line cards. Aren't they fun and different? Hi, Dee. Aren't they fun and different? So I made 3 different ones. And I'll make maybe 2 today. Oh, you're back from the lake? Which lake did you go to? So um these cards are called fault line cards because I mean basically they look like a fault line in terms of like a geological fault line, like the San Andreas Fault, where the ground is cracked and spreads apart. Um, so that's kind of what they are. It also reminds me of, those geodes that, it's the outside and you can crack into them and then you see all of those beautiful crystals and like inside. To me, it looks like you could have, this being the outside of the geode and then inside is like all of the crystals. Blackwater Lake. I don't really know where that one is. Sounds nice. Be nice to be relaxing by the lake right now. So these are what we're going to make. You can easily follow along. So just grab some cardstock and then paper or stamp set that you might want to stamp, or some die cuts like I did here. I made what I'm calling sort of easy, easier, wait, easy, easier, easiest. So we'll start with the easiest and probably get to the easier. I'm not sure I'm going to cut out all of these again. I thought I'd like it a lot more than I do, but maybe inside it would be if I, well, we'll talk about that when we get to it. So you guys ready to start? I am using the Impressions of Bloom stamp set. I've used these for other things. I made that one video where I stamped down the middle, stamped across the side, and then cut them into fours and had 4 different cards. This is a stamp set that I used. And I think I used it last week. But I don't remember what I did last week, so. And then I'm using the paper suite is called Floral Impressions. Oh, I know what I did. I did the ombre scrapbook layout. And this paper reminds me. Maybe I'll keep it out because I could use that. We'll see. I did the ombre scrapbook layout. So let's look at the other papers in the suite. This one, and this is the one that I used here. This is so pretty. And then the back is a nice design. I did use that for the inside of my card. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Vicki. This one's pretty too. The back is a purple. I don't know what color that is. Let me see what. Whoops. Fresh freesia. Fresh freesia. This one's pretty. This would be pretty with the sunflower embossing folder, and then the green on the back. I'm going to do a live with the embossing folder. Well, actually, I'm going to make a video for the YouTube hop for, I think it's for September with that one. This is pretty. And look at this. I love this paper with the leaves. It's the same one. This is, I showed that one and this one. Okay, we've seen the ombre one because I used this one last week. This is the ombre. And then the back is this yellow check. And then I think this is the last paper. And I did use this one also on the ombre layout. And then it's got this kind of green stripe. Okay, so that is the paper that we are going to use. I just dropped some on the floor, but it disappeared. I don't know where that paper went. That's so strange. I'm also, if you notice, I'm using the new in colors, the 2025, 2027 in colors. Basically, it's the Secret Sea, Strawberry Slush, Timid Tiger, Darling Duckling. And then Cloud Cover, they don't have in the stamp pads yet, so I don't have that one. But I used the Strawberry Slush for the card, and then in here you can see the Darling Duckling and the Timid Tiger, and then some of the Strawberry Slush. But that's the colors that are in the papers, so I thought I'd feature those. Okay, so let's start making, I'm going to start with this one, the easiest one, this one. And what you are going to need, your card base, you need a piece that is 4 1/4 by 9 1/2. So I'm going to take this paper, this is strawberry slush, and cut it at 4 1/4. Okay, and then 9 1/2. Okay, yes, and it's 9 1/2. I know that seems like a weird number, but you will see why. And then I am going to score it at 5 1/2. Let's get the blade out of the way and put my scoring blade on there. Okay, and then let's fold this. And I will burnish it a little bit so it stays closed. Okay, now you're like, wait a minute. It doesn't go all the way down. Well, that's okay because remember, we're going to be putting this paper in between. Okay, now we need here I did use old olive here because it goes with the leaves. And that is 4 1/4 by 3. Okay, let's see. I've got this piece here. Is it 4 1/4? Okay, this is 4 1/4, and then by 3. Now these measurements are, you know, um, give or take, and you'll see why. Hopefully, you'll be able to see, like if you want to make this bigger because you don't like it to be um, as what's the word I'm looking for? As close when you rip it, if you want more room to work with, that's fine too. Okay, so what you need to do is take your whatever color you're going to use for the contrast, put it on top, okay, and then I'm going to tear it. Now, if you have paper that is two-tone with a white core, you might want to think about, which way you're using it. This is solid core one color, so I'm going to lay it like this, and you're not adhering it. You're just kind of putting it down, and then I'm going to rip it. You see here, I've kind of just ripped it at a slight angle. Some of them I did more than others. You can see, like this one, I did a more exaggerated angle. So it's just based on what look you're trying to get. Okay. And so about halfway down, I'm going to start ripping. You want to hold these together. Okay, so make sure that they stay together as you're ripping. So go slow. So I'm gonna rip from about here to about here. Slight angle down. Okay. While I'm keeping this even. And you want to go back, make sure you're keeping it together. Now it doesn't matter if it's you keep it exactly together the whole time, but if you want the look where they kind of mimic each other, you should do that. Okay. Woo, what do you guys think? We just tore the front of our cards. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, right? Okay. Now, on this one, you can see I kind of curled them up a little bit so it have a little bit more visual interest. This one I did not. So you can kind of decide what kind of look that you want to do. So keep these together. This one goes there and this one goes here. And I'm going to kind of just take my bone folder and curl it a little bit. Curl it up. And then this one, keep it in the same orientation that it was, and then kind of curl this one up too. It's easier if you do it before you adhere them down. Not how you expected it to be made. What were you thinking? Okay, so here's this one. Let's do these ones. Okay, now let me show you one thing. On this one, if I put these here, if I put this here like this, and then I put this here like this, I'm going to have it angled just down like that. What I did here is I kind of flipped it over this way so that I had more of the angle like this. However, if you're using two-tone cardstock or you're using cardstock that has white core, you might lose that, the white core. Like the top would be white core, but then the bottom you wouldn't see the white core. So you might not be able to flip it if you are doing doing a two-tone white core. Okay, so I'm gonna flip it and then kind of curl it up a little bit this way. Not much, but you want it to kind of not lay flat. Or maybe you do, it's up to you. It's just if you're going to do it before you glue it together. Okay, now we're going to glue this onto here. I'm going to use the Tombow glue. Okay, and I'm going to put it here. I'm not going all the way to the edge because I have that curled up. So, see, I want it to be kind of, curled up. So I'm going to put it like this. And then you also can decide how much or how little of the contrasting color you want to see. You see here, I just kind of put a little bit. Here, I put a little bit more. So it just depends. Okay. And then let's do this one. And again, I'm doing it where I flipped it so that I'm making sort of an angled. Here it's a little bit angled, but not a lot. Okay. So that's wait, I want this pink here to be a little bit sticking up a little bit more. There we go. I want it to be, separated enough. Okay. So now let's glue this one onto here. And then I am going to try and mimic about the same amount of edge showing, not a lot. Okay. So let's put this together like this. Okay. Now this is kind of a good time to stamp if you're going to stamp something before you get kind of more layers on it. So I'm going to do that. Here I did Hoping Your Day Blooms with Happiness. That's actually from this Year of Flowers stamp set. Hoping Your Day Blooms with Happiness. I just really like that sentiment. I did also use, for this card, I used I appreciate you so very much. So you could do that. On this one, I just put I appreciate you. I think for this one, I'm going to do the Hoping Your Day Blooms with Happiness. Okay, and these ones are cling stamps. And I just used black. Okay. I feel like I got some on the edge there. I was smushing it down pretty good. Okay. Now I'm going to try and get it straight. I feel like this one I didn't get it quite straight, but this is, oh shoot, well, I'm going to cut that off anyway. Let me wipe off my finger first. Okay. Oh, that, you know what? Before I stamp this, let me figure out how much I'm going to cut off because I want to make sure. I'm only going to cut off about 1/4 of an inch, so. But keep that in mind before you stamp. I'm going to put it right here. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay. Now we need the piece that is going inside. We need the paper here. This one I'm doing with just paper. Okay. And I'm going to use this one since it's already kind of cut. So this piece, the piece inside, you need about, it says 4 1/4 by 4. Let's see, how tall is this? This is 2. Well, okay, let's use a bigger piece. I don't know. Can I get this to work? I think I could get this to work. Oh no, see, this is why you need it to be 4. Okay, here's my paper. This is what I used here. And I'm assuming this is 4 1/4. Yes, 4 1/4. And let's cut it at 4. If you use, if you make less of things showing, you can cut this a little bit smaller. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to glue this onto here and then this onto here. Okay, so let's put some glue on this green part here. Okay. There you go. And then we're going to glue this here. But we want to make sure that, there we go. Okay, I want to make sure this is still above the bottom, and then I want to cut off this part here that I got ink on. But this is where you can play around and see how much of the paper you want to show and how much you don't want it to show. Right? It's up to you. So okay, so I'm going to do it like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here. Oh, did I do that on the wrong? No, I did it on the right side. Okay. I'm going to line this up. There. Make sure that you don't have glue seeping out the back before you do that. Okay. Okay. So you may or may not have to trim this so that it's, 5.5 inches this way. Okay. Now, now that it's a little bit dry, you can see that here is, you can see all of those layers. Okay. Let me tell you a couple ways you can deal with that. First of all, on this one, what I actually did is I cut this piece here. I cut it 4.25 by 5.5. Well, a little. I cut it a little bit shorter than 5.5 so that the fold, it wouldn't get involved in the fold. But 4.25, 5.5. So the whole back is that paper. However, I will tell you, it's a little bit flimsy, right? Because this is just pattern paper. Whereas this one, this is another piece that's glued on top, and then that's white, basic white there. Okay, so this is kind of 2 layers. So you can see it's a lot more sturdy. Okay, it doesn't flop around like this one does. See how that one flops around? This one doesn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another piece of cardstock or some paper behind it. So I think I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to do a strawberry slush. Okay, so it just looks like the card base. So I'm going to cut it 4.25 by 5.5. But like I said, a little bit smaller than 5.5. Just like an 1/8 of an inch. So here's 5.5. I would maybe take that 1/8 of an inch. You can even do a 16th if you want to. You won't really be able to tell. Okay, and so then what I'm going to do is just put the glue all over the back of here. And then I am going to line it up with the bottom of the card, not at the crease, because that's where I want to leave just a little bit of room so that you don't have a problem opening and closing. And really, the person you send this to might not even notice that you have a backing on it if you do it this way, right? I mean, this way, obviously, it's a different pattern, so you can tell, but here, no. Okay. So now let's decorate this a little more. Let's cut let's cut a flower. And here I used Pretty in Pink, I think, and then these two leaves. So let's cut those. And I'm going to put it up here because how I ripped this, there was a lot more room up there. I think that's where I'm going to put it. Then I might do the center in the brown. Okay, so let me find some pink here. Okay, here's my pink. Oh, I don't have a lot of the pink. Let's see, what do I have a lot of? It's got the purple. I don't really like that with that. Got the orange. No, I think I need to have that Pretty in Pink. Let me see if I can get some. Man, I'm really low on that. Can I fit this on here? Oh, I think I can just fit it on there. Okay, let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, I'm using my mini stamp cut and emboss machine because these are pretty small. Pretty small dies. I love these dies. I've used them so much, these flowers. What I like about them is it's got this like it cuts the outside die, and then this one makes the grooves into the flower. So I really love it. Okay, and then we can do the leaves. And really, it doesn't even matter where you put them on the inside of this leaf. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfectly centered, which I love. Same thing with the flower. Okay. And again, these ones have got these inside pieces that cut the like veins out of the leaves. I love that. So we got the flower, the leaves. Now let's do the center. And now I have some brown here. Here we go. This is espresso. Whoa. And then this one's got a center that makes the like little dots on the leaf. Okay. And so now this one, you see how it's got the little dots there? Okay, so now we've got all the pieces that we need. I want to, let's see. I want to put the dies away so that I don't lose them. Okay. Because there's some little pieces here. Okay. Now let's put these together. I'm going to use my adhesive. Okay. Okay, let's put these down. So this is the easiest one because you're just using the paper. You're not really stamping anything besides a sentiment. There we go. Let's see. And then I have the 2025-2027 in color flat pearls. So let's put these down. I can use the strawberry slush. A couple here. And then one up here. And there, it's too high. Can I get it off? I don't know, that's stuck down there pretty good. I'm gonna leave it there because it's really stuck down on there. Okay, there's the first card. And then if you want, you could put, white, basic white on the inside. Let's see if I have some white here. So let's cut this 4 1/4. Well, let's cut this 4 by 5 1/4. And if you want, you can stamp it first. I'm going to wait to stamp it until I know what I want to use it for. But this is actually a nice card for any occasion, like just because. There you go. Because it just says, hoping your day blooms with happiness. So very, very simple. Okay, what do you guys think about that one? Hi, Cherry. Hi, Miss Ginger Dots. How are you? Okay, so you can see this one, I did more of an angle here. It's a little bit less of an angle. Any questions? And then I'll move on to the next one. I think I have time to make the next one. They're kind of fun. I really think that they're kind of fun. So the next one I'm going to do is the stamping one. Okay. Um, so it's very similar. So let's start off with our card base. Let's see. I had paper out, but for one, let me get some more paper. How about if we do an orange? An orange. I don't think I have strawberry slush. Here's an orange that I can use. Okay, so again, let's cut our card base at 4¼ by 9½. Okay, and then score it at 5½. Make sure you don't use the cutting blade. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's fold it and then burnish the top. What color should I use? Should I use the old olive again? Okay, so let's see. The old olive was 4¼ by 3. So 4¼ by 3. Okay, remember when you do this, we're going to tear it at the top. I think I'm going to put it up kind of high because this one I started kind of low. And although here this one I did stamp at the top, so okay, so I'm going to start up here and tear. And remember, you want to keep your paper as together as you can. I am kind of angling it. You can kind of make waves if you want or something to make it a little, a little more. Oh, I hope I did enough there. Okay, now this one I'm not going to roll up like this one. This one I definitely rolled up because I wanted you to be able to, I wanted it to look like a fault. On this one, you see I left it a little bit straight. I didn't ink it up. But what I did do is I don't know if you can tell, but I took the old olive ink and I wiped it on there to kind of get a little bit of color. So I don't have old olive, but I have mossy meadow. Let me see if it's going to be too dark. Otherwise I'll get, that's pretty dark. I'm going to get close to my heart fern or something. It was pretty close to old olive. Okay. So along the edge, that's the torn edge, I'm just going to kind of wipe this on. You could use a sponge or a finger dauber, you know, whatever you want. I'm just kind of doing it fast for you. That way you can kind of really see the color. Okay. And then if let me see if I'm going to turn it around this way. Yeah. Okay. And then I'll just kind of wipe this edge too. That way it stands out. And the other one, it stood out because I rolled it. You know, I rolled it up. This one is going to stand out because I inked it. And you could do the same. I do have Timid Tiger ink. This is pretty, I don't know about this one because it's pretty juicy. Let me test this out first. Okay. This ink pad's kind of new, so I'm just gonna go lightly on the edges. Again, you can use your finger daubers or whatever you want if you want to. And then let's do this one. I'm gonna try and do it this way because I'm getting. And you don't have to do this if you don't want to. It just kind of helps outline the fault. Okay. Now let's glue this. I'm gonna glue on the green, the old olive. Again, don't go right up to the edge because you want it to stick out a little bit. However, since you're not curling it up, but you want some of that to show through, remember, so you don't want it to be all the way to the edge. And then line it up. There we go for that one. Make sure the edges are lined up. And then you do the same thing here. There we go. Okay, so I'm showing maybe an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch there. Okay. So now what we need is we're going to need the basic white. And the basic white should be about 4 1/4 by 4, like the pattern piece was before. Let's see. Let's see if this is 4 1/4 by 4. I'm going to leave it however tall. Okay, that's my 4. Perfect. Okay, now for this one, what we're going to do is I'm just going to stamp. Okay, I'm going to start with the Darling Duckling. And there I used this bigger flower. Is a Darling Duckling. Thanks, Vicky. Okay, so these ones, These are new stamp sets, so these are really. Let me get some paper here. Because I'm going to stamp off the page, so. Okay. And you can stamp off if you want to make it lighter. And I'm just kind of doing some randomness. That's probably pretty good. Let's see. Okay. And then these are a two-step stamp. So if you can see here, this is the stamp, and then you've got the insides, the stamens like. Now I have seen people do this part first and then the outline. I don't know. I prefer it this way, but you know, you can do whatever works for you. Okay. You do have to try and line these up because what I've been doing is there is on this one, there's like one long leaf. And so I kind of use that as my go-to mark. So that one's not the best, but by the time you're done, you won't even notice. Because we're going to stamp a lot of things. And I'm just trying to do this fast so that we actually finish the card. Okay, so that's the yellow. Let's do the Timid Tiger next. And the Timid Tiger, I did the smaller one here. Again, this one is a two-step stamp. I have a smaller block, I think. The Timid Tiger, I did the smaller one here. Again, this one is a two-step stamp. Smaller. When I leaned over, I accidentally hit the hit the volume. Sorry. Okay. Now let's do this one. I really like this Timid Tiger color. So did I leave enough room for the pink? I hope so. Okay, but I wanted more of the Timid Tiger since that's the color of the base, the card base. Okay, this one is two-step stamping, and it's got the centers here. That's the color of the base. Why does it keep doing that, guys? I'm sorry. That time I set the stamp pad on it. Now this one's a little bit harder to line up. I think it goes like this, which is and I am doing just tone on tone. So if you want to do it two different colors, you could. But I figured there was already so many colors. I was planning on doing several colors that, there we go. I was gonna kind of keep it simple and do tone on tone. Okay. I don't know if you can see, this one's probably the best where you could see the two layer stamping. Okay. Julie, I think last week you said my stamps were well loved, and I think you can see why. Okay, now for the strawberry slush ones, I'm going to do the medium flour, and I'm going to have to overlap it, which is okay. I did that on the card here. You can see I overlapped. And the thing is I don't really know what part's going to be covered up from the uh, fault card part or not. Okay, and then the last, well, I might do a couple leaves. Okay, and then this one does have and then this one really is, okay. And how I line this one up, this one has three leaves, and that's 3 leaves, so. Oh, good. You watched that video. I did try and link it there. That's a really fast card. I did that another time for a Christmas card with snowflakes. It was the stamp of the month from Close to My Heart. Where there weren't snowflakes. It was kind of more of a mandala, I think. And okay, so let's do this. Let's see, how can I get that to line up? There we go. Pretty good. Okay, this one. That one, and then I'll do this one here. Okay. And now lastly, I just want to do the leaves. And then we'll just glue it all together and we'll be done. Okay. Put this away, and then we'll put a couple leaves in here. We don't need a lot, but. Oh, you know what we didn't do also? The centers. Shoot, I forgot about the flower centers. Let's do the flower centers first. I'm going to use toffee, some kind of, you can use espresso. Actually, that one, we should use the bigger center. There are two centers. Okay. And then even the center is two layers. It's got the part that's like has the lines, or like the shading, I would say. Okay. I think I did all those. Now let's get out the big center for the bigger flowers. You can see they're here. Big center. There we go. Okay. There we go. That fits it better. Okay, and then we'll just do this, the 2-layer part. I don't know if you can see in the picture how it's like it's kind of open in the center and then shaded around the edges, so it makes it look more three-dimensional. There we go. I like how I stamped this one, and okay. Now we can do the leaves, and then we just want a little bit of green in there to go with the green that I put on the outside. Okay, and I feel like I lost the center. I forgot that I had those there. Well, our leaves are just going to be 1 layer because I don't know what I did with it's not there, so I had it out. Thought it might be on one of the ink pads, but I don't see it. Okay, let's do the leaf. Let's see. Kind of just putting them here by the darling duckling flowers. just so we can have some green in there. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do so we can get this card together. Hopefully I'll find the, oh, you know, no, that's not it. That was the word there. It's probably on me or something, I don't know. I think I found that sheet that fell earlier. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to figure out how we want to glue this on. Okay, what do we want to show? What do we not want to show? Oh, I didn't put a center there. Didn't see there was an orange in there. Let's fix it up real quick. Make sure this is the toffee. Okay. Oh, this is a bigger one. Ooh, okay. I accidentally used the bigger part, but that's okay. This is just so you guys can see how these cards go together. Okay. Of course, it's like right in the middle where. Okay, okay, I like that better. So let's do it like that. Okay, so I'm going to glue the very top part here. Make sure that you're making the sides even. Okay. And then we are going to, I want a little bit to show like this. Okay. But you can see how this is going to be sticking out a little bit. So we're going to have to trim that, but get it where you like it. Okay. And then glue it. I'm going to have to trim off about 1/2 of an inch. So I'm going to leave the bottom half done, you know, done. Okay. Okay. And then we're just going to trim off this bottom. Making sure it goes all the way through. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do is put a sentiment, and I will use this one. I appreciate you. I'm going to do it in black, and I am going to open it up so that I have a more flat surface here to stamp on. I appreciate you. I love the font on this. It's a really beautiful cursive. It looks like handwriting. It actually looks like I might have, wrote that. And then I think I'm going to put this so very much because I have a lot of room down here. Here I showed more of the stamp part. Here I showed less. So I have room for this down here. So very much. Okay. And then just put some gems on it. Again, I'm going to use the 2025-2027 in color. And why don't we use the Timid Tiger? Here I use the oh wait, that's what I didn't want to use it. The Darling Duckling. There we go. And these are flat pearls. I mean, they are they do have they are raised slightly, but they're not like those big pearls, they're more flat. So there you go. So what do you guys think? These are the ones today. And then, what I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have like these die cuts inside instead of just the paper or the stamp set? And then I went a little crazy with it. I think maybe I should have kept it just with the dies on the inside, but that's another option that you have. Yeah, I mean, I've said this before. Orange is probably one of my least favorite colors, orange and purple. Sorry, Michelle. Um, but I like this orange. It's a nice orange. So here is a link to the resource page that lists everything that I used. If you want to, recreate some of these. Now, next week is going to be something fun. I mean, really, every week is fun, I think. But next week, I'm doing a scrapbook layout, and what I'm calling this is can you make a whole album with one simple layout? So here's the simple layout. Um, and you can see I've already, this is from our trip to England. But I'm using the layout in this is the same layout, but rotated. You can see here this is the same layout, but it's rotated. This one too. And then I made a third one, but I don't have it labeled yet, but you get the idea. So we're going to be playing with our layouts. Simple layout. Can you make a whole album with this layout? That's what we're doing next week. I want to draw your attention to my blog post and my YouTube video for the Scrapbooking Global blog hop. This is what I did. This is using the travel paper. This is from the trip also. So check this out. This is a layout. There's a sketch that goes with this one that's on the blog. So you can use it with other papers and that too. But the blog theme was travel. So that's why I wanted to use this is called On the Go. So check out my blog, and there's a related YouTube video for that. Okay, so next week, simple layout, album complete, and the blog. Check out the blog. Also, on the 30th, I am having the Paper Pumpkin Kit Together on Wednesday night. I often have it on Thursday, but I'm going to India. I'm leaving for India on Friday, the 1st. And so I thought I might be busy Thursday night getting my stuff together. So I thought I'd have it on Wednesday. Yeah, that's my goal. My goal is to maybe finish the album just by um, using my lives, because I think next week we'll be able to do three layouts, at least the bases. Like I did this one, um, and then today I went back and added the titles on these. Um, so anyway, I hope to see you next week. And the Paper Pumpkin, don't forget that on the 30th. Okay, thanks for joining. Bye.